Hey everyone, welcome back to Real Estate Wisdom with Vish. I'm Vishal Kapoor, and today I want to take you inside the front door of a very real, very Canadian story. Not a headline, not a chart, a home. A home where a grandfather with arthritis is slowly moving a little bit slower each day. A home where the parents are both working full time, juggling kids, bills, and aging parents. A home where a university graduate has moved back into their old bedroom because buying or even renting anything nearby just feel impossible. 3 generations, one roof, and a housing system that still pretends the average family is just mom, dad, and 2 kids. That gap between how we live and how we build, that's what today's episode is about. Because Canada is going through the biggest generational wealth and demographic shift of our lifetime. Our population is aging, more people are providing unpaid care inside families, and more households are quietly turning multigenerational to cope with cost, caregiving, and cultural expectations. And the question is, will our housing planning evolve with that reality? Or will families be forced to twist themselves into shapes that our homes were never designed to hold? Let's talk about it. I want you to picture a family I will call the Singhs. They live in the GTA in a 3 bedroom detached home that was built in the 90s. Standard layout, one kitchen, 2.5 baths, finished basement, but nothing fancy. For years, it was just the parents and their 2 kids. A pretty typical setup. Then things started changing. First, Dad's parents came from India for a few months to help with childcare. When the second baby was born, it worked so well. More hands, more love, that the family decided, why don't they just stay with us long term? It's better than them being alone back home. Culturally, it made sense. Emotionally, it felt right. Economically, it helped too. Childcare in Canada is expensive. Having grandparents at home made it easier for both parents to work, save, and get ahead. So now we have grandparents in one bedroom, parents in another, 2 kids sharing the third. The house was full, but it was working. Then a few years later, the oldest child finishes university. They get a decent job, but the minute they start looking at rent and home prices, reality hits. Why am I going to pay $2,200 a month to share a condo with strangers when my old room is still there? So they move back home just for a year or two to save. Now, that same house is doing the job of a family home, an elder care setting, and a launch pad for an adult child all at once. No one planned it that way. Life just changed faster than the house could. And the Singhs are not a rare case. In many ethno-cultural communities, South Asian, Chinese, Filipino, African, Caribbean, and others, multi-generational living is already common. And caregiving responsibilities are increasingly falling on family members who are themselves working and raising children. This is where the magic and the madness of multi-generational living show up. Deep connection, shared culture, and very real pressure. Let's go one layer deeper. Inside that Singh house, you might feel laughter in the kitchen as grandma makes chai and the kids steal snacks. Relief from the parents knowing their kids are with someone they deeply trust. comfort for the grandparents surrounded by family instead of being isolated. All of that is beautiful. But at the same time, you might also feel tension when three adults need the bathroom before work. Frustration when a Zoom meeting competes with a pressure cooker whistle. Exhaustion when the sandwich generation parents is caring for both kids and elders and trying not to burn out. And the house? The house is just not built for this. One kitchen, shared living space, no real sound separation, no private entrance for an adult child who might come in late, no accessible bathroom on the main floor for a grandparent with mobility issues. So, the family does what families always do. They improvise. Curtains instead of real walls, schedules for the shower, a folding table for extra homework space, a basement that becomes a part-time bedroom, part-time storage, and part-time everything. They are living a 2026 life in a house designed for a 1990s fantasy of what a normal family looked like. This is the emotional and practical tension that most policy documents never capture. But it's the reality for millions of Canadians who are living some version of this story. Now, let me take you to another home. I will call them the Martins. They are not immigrants. They are been in Canada for generations. They live in a smaller Ontario city. Their situation started very simply: mom and dad in their late 40s, two teenagers, and mom's 78-year-old father living alone across town. At first, they visited him on weekends, then twice a week, then almost every day. Little things began to add up. He started forgetting the stove on. He fell once in the bathroom. He missed a couple of medical appointments. He didn't want to move to a retirement home. They didn't want to put him in a home either. That phrase alone carried so much guilt. So, eventually, they do what so many families quietly do in Canada. They move him in. Just for a bit, Dad, until we figured something out. But again, the house was never designed with this in mind. The stairs are steep, the bathroom is small, there are rugs he can trip on, and now the parents are part of that sandwich generation. The research keeps talking about they are raising teens and providing daily care to an aging parent at the same time. Their evenings are no longer rest time. They are medication time, appointment time, check-in time. Emotionally, it's heavy. They love him. They want him there, but they are tired. And under all of that, there's the house stubbornly uncooperative. No main floor bedroom, no accessible shower, no separate quiet space where he can rest while the teens live their lives. So again, the family bends, the house doesn't. This is not the exception anymore. Here's the key. Stories like the Singhs and the Martins are not edge cases. With an aging population and a rising share of people acting as unpaid caregiver to adults and seniors, more households are carrying multiple roles at once. Parents, workers, caregivers, often under the same roof. And in the affordability challenges, cultural preferences for living together, and the desire for seniors to age at home instead of institutions, and it's not surprising that multi-generational households have become a real growing part of Canada's housing picture. But our zoning and building patterns, they still mostly optimize for the old script. One family, one generation, one use. That mismatch is where a lot of stress is born. What municipalities are getting wrong and how they can fix it. So let's talk about planning. If you are a municipality and you are still protecting huge areas of your city for only one type of home, the classic single family detached, you are planning for a world that doesn't exist anymore. Real people are sharing homes across generations, carving out secondary suites, converting basements, squeezing in caregivers, and returning adult children. Instead of pretending this isn't happening, cities should be designed for it. That means allowing duplexes, triplexes, and fourplexes of right in more neighborhoods, making it easier, not harder, to add legal secondary suites, garden suites, and laneway homes, encouraging designs that include main floor bedrooms and accessible bathrooms so seniors can age in place. When you legalize and property plan for gentle density, you don't just add units, you add dignity. You give families options that don't rely on hacks and workarounds. Imagine if the Singhs had a house legally designed as a duplex with the proper secondary unit and real sound separation. Imagine if the Martins could convert their main floor into a small accessible suite for dad with the right supports built in. Same families, same love, way less friction. What builders need to hear. Now, if you are a builder or developer listening to this, I want you to hear this part clearly. You are not just building for buyers. You are building for real, messy, multi-layered lives. The days of designing every detached home the same way, one family, one kitchen, all bedrooms upstairs, are numbered. The most valuable homes in the next 10, 20 years will not just be the biggest or the flashiest. They will be the ones that can flex. Think about including floor plans that can be easily converted into multi-generational layouts, pre-planned rough-ins for future secondary suites, side entrances or separate staircases that make adding a unit easier later, better soundproofing between floors, main floor bedrooms and bathrooms to support aging in place. These are not just design tweaks. They are recognition of where Canada is heading. The families are already changing. The question is whether the houses will catch up. The wealth shift underneath all of this. Now, let's tie this back to the generational wealth shift. As older Canadians age, many of them hold substantial housing equity. Some will sell and downsize. Some will pass homes down. Some will leverage equity to help kids buy. Some will move in with the family instead of moving into care. Whichever path they choose, housing is at the center of it. And the next generation, millennials, Gen Z, are not walking into the same affordability conditions their parents had. So they are combining households, they are delaying independence, they are turning home into both shelter and strategy. If you look at the only as a price problem, we miss the bigger story. This is a structural shift in how Canadians live, care, and build wealth together. Homes are no longer just end goals. They are platforms for caregiving, for rental income, for intergenerational support, for adapting to life shocks, job loss, illness, separation, you name it. So, what's on the horizon? I think we will see more multi-generational households in every province, not just big cities. More buyers specifically looking for homes that can support parents or adult kids. More pressure on cities to unlock the missing middle, that space between singles and towers. More demand for adaptable multi-use housing products. And behind every one of these trends is a story like the Singhs or the Martins. Families doing their best, trying to hold everyone together, sometimes thriving, sometimes stretched thin, often both at the same time. The question is whether our housing system will support them or work against them. So, let me leave you with this. When you drive through any Canadian neighborhood, those quiet streets with simple driveways and similar looking homes, I want you to remember you don't actually know how many generations live behind each door. How many caregivers are quietly doing unpaid work every night? How many adult children are back home trying to get on their feet? How many seniors are trying to age with dignity in spaces that were never designed for walkers, grab bars, or limited mobility? Housing is not just a product. It's the stage where all of this plays out. If you are a buyer or investor, maybe the most powerful question you can ask yourself is not how nice is this house, but how many versions of my life could this house support? If you are a policymaker, are our bylaws designed for the families we actually have or the families we used to imagine? If you are a builder, am I just selling square footage or am I creating homes that make real lives easier? Because the biggest generational wealth shift in Canada is more than money changing hands. It's lifestyles changing shape. It's family changing how they live together. And it's our responsibility as planners, builders, professionals, and community members to make sure our homes are ready for that. You've been listening to Real Estate Wisdom with Vish. If today's episode made you think about our own family, your own home, or your own future plans, share it with someone you care about. These are conversations we need to be having at the dinner table, not just in policy reports. I'm Vish. Thanks for being here with me. I'll catch you in the next episode. Bye for now.
Disclaimer: the information provided in this podcast is for informational purpose only and should not be considered as financial or investment advice. Consult with your professional before making any real estate decisions.